checking in with another video. Kind of wanted to go over the portfolio real quick. I posted my first video last week and it was an absolute banger in my opinion. Almost 1,000 views, which will be the first time on a long form video for me. If you haven't already, go check that video out. Get me to 1,000 views. I'd really appreciate it. For this portfolio, I trade options. I buy a couple long or buy and hold positions, and I have a couple speculative plays. If you don't know my channel already, essentially what I was trying to do is build a portfolio from scratch and show how I scale ultimately to a six-figure portfolio, like I have done with a couple others in my personal life with my private portfolios. So if you're down to learn about some stocks, how to trade options, go back and check out some of my playlist and watch some videos. And if not, then, tune in for all the videos to come. If you haven't already, I'm going to go ahead and insert it now. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below what your favorite stocks are going into the year. So let's get into it. Right now, I was doing a wheel strategy on Plug Power and SoFi, which is essentially where you sell cash secured puts. Once you get assigned, then you start selling covered calls until you get your shares called away, and you basically rinse and repeat, all while collecting the premium in between. I had my position on Plug Power kind of blow up, so premiums there aren't too great. SoFi, I believe in this company as a long-term play, so definitely, don't mind getting put shares. And I'm selling the covered calls, hoping that I don't get my shares called away from me, but it's basically just another way to maximize kind of like the gains on it. But I think that stock is going to be an absolute banger into the future. Here's a little bit more of a risky play. It's known as a call credit spread. I opened it up actually last week for expiration of the 12th, but my position was blowing up, so I ended up rolling it to the 19th, and here we are again, kind of getting blown up. Nvidia here ran up this week, 8%, so kind of blew up the call. I was selling this covered call here, the 520, 522.50, with a delta of about 12 or 13 when I had ultimately sold it and rolled it. But obviously it's still not going in my favor. I have about 2 weeks though at this point, or a week and a half for Nvidia to fall below the 520 mark. So I'm not too concerned about it. But if you look here, I'm down essentially about 50% on it. I got a $99 credit, and I'm down about $56 right now. But that $99 credit is not actually accurate. After I rolled up my previous spread, I think ultimately I ended up profiting about like $12 or $13 on this one. When the original option, I was up about 60 until I rolled it. So basically, see right here, so $10, excuse me, not 13. So basically what you want to do, like if your position is getting like blown up, you could wait it out and see what happens, ultimately closing the position if it doesn't go into your favor. But if it does, or if it doesn't, then what you can do is you can roll it up or roll it out. I need to make a video on that because I think a lot of YouTubers end up telling you what to do or how to do it, but not necessarily show you. So go check out my options playlist. I think all those videos are pretty informational, at least from the basics of calls and puts. But I need to go more in depth with a couple of the actual intricacies of trading the options, so that way you know how to manage your position. Because opening or closing is fairly easy in my opinion if you're just generally aware of the stock market, but rolling was kind of something that was a bit challenging. It's easy once you understand the concept, but I think some of these more complex strategies, it's difficult to think about rolling it versus just simply rolling a single call or a single put that you have. Anyways, got a decent cash balance. I was thinking about signing up for Robinhood Gold, but I think I did the math and I need at least like $2,500 of cash at all times to make the 5.25 worth it to offset the $5 a month fee for Robinhood Gold. So just kind of collecting the 1.5% and, kind of calling it what it is. Bitcoin has been on absolute terror, for the last 3 months especially. Last month, not too bad. 1 week, not too bad. But essentially, a lot of the, financial fiduciaries are signing up for Bitcoin ETFs to be able to sell them. And so the SEC is kind of waiting and reviewing these applications to see if they're going to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. And I think with that, a lot of investors are assuming a lot of funds are going to flow into Bitcoin, or those ETFs is essentially pushing the price of Bitcoin up. So that's where you've seen kind of the initial run up from, I think, like the mid 40s, all the way, I think around like here's whenever the news started coming through, about 20%, right? So Bitcoin, honestly, for me, like a lot of people call it the digital gold, or, have it a safety nest for, disconnecting from fiat currencies. But to me, honestly, I believe in the stock market. Bitcoin for me is just kind of like, throw $2 a day in there, see what happens. But I'm not really banking on it as a, life changer for me. But again, that's just my personal opinion. Getting into the stocks, pretty much nothing has changed for the most part. I'm still doing my daily buys on all these. I do add, a couple dollars here and there on top of the daily buys, which I can actually go over and show you guys which ones I'm doing. I added this one to the portfolio, which was a total gamble. It's likely going to get delisted and I'll probably lose some money on this, but I was like, you know what, let me throw $100 in there and see what happens, and not really going out or working out for me. Added Dollar General to the portfolio. It had a huge dip over the last, year, about 50%. I don't think it's warranted. They're bringing their old CEO back, and I think they're going to have a pretty good turnaround play, in my opinion, especially, with the challenges hitting the economy here in the near future. I just think Dollar General will be a really good play. So I'm adding to that position, I think about $2 or $3 a day, but hope to build that out into a pretty good sized position. I'm looking at it extensively in my private portfolio to sell maybe some puts on, but to get assigned the shares, obviously, right? Run the wheel strategy. But we'll see what happens there. So going into like kind of my daily buys here, I essentially put, $4 a day in Apple, $3 in Archer Daniels Midland, $1 in like a total bond index, $2 in Dollar General, $2 Kenvue, $3 Microsoft, $3 Palantir, $5 Republic Services, $10.25 a day into VOO. My ORGN got shut off because it fell below that dollar price range, so they don't support the fractional shares, but I still do buy 2 full shares, which comes out to be about $1.60, $1.70 right now a day. So hopefully that will kind of kick back up so I don't have to manually do it like I'm doing today. And again, my $2.25 in Bitcoin. So I think if you do the math, I think it's about like $33-ish a day that I'm investing in the stock market. And I think that, you may look at $33 a day and think that's a lot of money, or, I don't have the opportunity to do that. But what I'll tell you now is, back when I started in late 2015, early 2016, I think I was literally, at the time, commission trades were still a thing. I was using rayInvest, which was formerly Trade King. And, I was paying, I think $5.99 or something like that per trade. So usually what I would do is I would spend minimum $50, but I only had $50 a month. So I would usually set up 1 trade a month. And usually at the time, what it was for me was buying like 2 shares of AT&T or 1 share of General Mills. So needless to say, no matter how much money you have, the importance is getting into the market, not so much of like how much money you're plowing in, because over time, the compounding effect, especially with solid companies, you're going to see that growth engine, right? So for the year, not doing so great. It was a pretty bad, dip coming into the new year, but that was to be expected as, we rallied into Christmas and into the new year. So a lot of people are kind of taking profits in the new year, cashing out a little bit, right? Seeing a little bit of reallocation. Last year, up about $1,200 in total, but that's obviously including the first week or so here in January. Outside of that, guys, don't have too much. Looking at my watch list here, but if you guys have any kind of comments of like what kind of videos you guys want to see or what kind of information you want to see, let me know in the comment section, right? Go ahead and smash that like button. Comment if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And, love you guys. Thank you guys. See you next week.